This makes me think like they really need to get to work on cross-platform. Like Loot, I know you're a data miner,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
what do you like? Have you seen anything in the files about cross-platform or crossplay?
Well, they have some stuff that's detecting.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Miles. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I have a really highly anticipated one that I've been wanting to make for a while, and we finally got around to doing it, and that is the Apex Legends Squadcast podcast. So it's going to be an Apex Legends podcast, but with the Squadcast, which is our new channel that we just started. That's going to be myself, Quadmft, iLoot Games, and Sethly, and I'll leave a link down below to all of their channels, including the Squadcast channel. And in this episode, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about literally everything that's hot with Apex right now. So for instance, in this episode, we're talking about skill-based matchmaking, we're talking about pro players, we're talking about esports announcements, the global tournaments, we're talking about leaks and crossplay and legends and meta, literally everything about Apex. We're going to cover it in these videos. So let us know how you guys feel about these episodes. We're really taking your feedback from these to see if you guys would like them, and hopes that this would be a successful series. So if you do enjoy, make sure to leave it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Also, the giveaway ends tomorrow for the Pathfinder Heirloom Giveaway, so make sure to participate in that. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel, comment down below saying I subscribed, and also you can go follow me on Twitter and retweet my tweet for an extra entry. But that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video you're about to hear. Make sure to let us know in the comments down below how you feel about it.
All right, so the first thing we wanted to talk about is actually skill-based matchmaking in pubs and just in general all of Apex Legends, since that's been pretty much one of the biggest topics in the community since I can even remember. And I definitely want to hear Miles' opinion on this one.
So, like, you know, skill-based matchmaking is something that a lot of people is kind of really unbalanced. I thought most people just hated it, like myself. I've heard a lot of people complain about it. And so I just had this mentality that everyone hates it, it needs to be out of the game. But when I made a video on skill-based matchmaking a few weeks ago, I actually had a lot of mixed opinions down in the comment section. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people really enjoyed it. A lot of people hated it. And a lot of people really didn't care. And one thing I started to notice is that skill-based matchmaking only has that harsh effect on high level players. So like the higher level you are in rank, the higher skilled you are, the worse skill-based matchmaking is going to be. And you're in that middle ground, you're probably going to notice it a little bit, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as someone who's a bronze, who doesn't really play the game that much, who doesn't really care. They're not going to really notice skill-based matchmaking as much as a pro player will, as much as an Apex Predator will, because sometimes, you know, especially me working a lot, I don't really care to just come here and sweat all the time. Sometimes I'm just trying to chill. I'm trying to get good gameplay. And it just gets really, really hard trying to fight against all these pro players every single lobby. And I played yesterday for the first time in a long time on ranked, and it was almost like ranked was easier than public matches. And a lot of people noticed that, but since so many people are like spread out amongst the spectrum for the ranked play, you know, I'm trying my best to not have that mentality of the 0.2% as an Apex Predator. I'm trying to understand the opinions of all the other ranks, and it really hurts me. It really hurts a lot of these other pro players and high level players. But there's definitely a lot of different opinions amongst all the Apex Legends players, because I'm not the only player. You know, I'm not the only one. I'm not the majority of the Apex Legends community sitting at Apex Predator. There's a lot more opinions that have valid points and have valid reasons. But for me, it's definitely hard and something I would like to see at least adjusted. Now that I've seen and heard from everyone about this on how they feel, I definitely would like to see them at least adjust it. If they're not going to take it out, at least make some minor adjustments
So
to allow
what
people.
type of adjustments would you want? Like, because me personally, the reason I don't really like skill based is because when I'm just trying to have fun in pubs and I'm not trying to play ranked, I literally just hop on a smurf, and to be honest, I probably ruin a lot of kids games just because it's too
Yeah,
easy. That's probably the worst
that's how
part.
I feel. So one of the things I think is another way we have to look at it is that they're here to make money. And if new players come to the game and they get smashed all the time by these pro streamers and they can't make money, then they have a problem. So they're going to cater to all those bad players because that's the majority of their players. We know that from the analytics already. So the question is how do they keep the streamers happy who inform people about the game? And how do they keep the brand new players happy who are the majority?
Exactly.
To be honest, I think the way they do it is maybe they make a few changes. I literally don't know what they would do. I don't know all the technical things like you probably do, Loot, but I don't think they will ever remove skill-based matchmaking. I see everybody talking about that in my comments and stuff, and I just don't think it will happen. There's no way they're
I,
going to
I
remove it.
I think at least what they should do before they adjust it is probably release how skill-based matchmaking actually works. Like
Exactly.
what goes into it, what determines who I'm going to be playing against in the next match, even if it's not ranked.
Well, I think
Right.
what would
Exactly.
happen if you did that, though, if you had the exact info, is that people would go and purposely manipulate it.
Hey guys,
That's true too.
That's
That's
true.
a
Yeah,
major
that
thing.
is true, and I can
yes, he
understand
said.
that. But I do feel like there needs to be something along the lines to help us understand what is going on. Because in my opinion, I just think, oh, just because I have this rank, or just because I do this and I have the 20 bomb badge and I have the 4K badge, that means I'm going to play against high level players. I'm not really sure if that's even true, if that's how it works at all. I do know that someone told me the other day that they made a Smurf account, and within 3 games of just in 3 games of like only dropping 3 kills, they purposely played bad to see how it would all work. But because their accuracy percentage was really high, in 3 games they were already getting back into their consistent predator lobbies, apex
Wait,
predator
that's
lobbies.
wild. Wait, what the heck? So it could
Yeah,
be also based on accuracy. Wow, they're doing
Yeah,
yeah,
more,
it's
way more
definitely
than I
something
thought
that
it would.
goes into it.
Someone posted on Reddit where they actually went through and they tested what it took, and they said after they hit level 10, they started to be placed in the higher ranked lobbies, no matter what was happening. But if they were getting a lot of deaths, so they had a bad kill to death ratio, they were once again placed down in the bad lobby. So there
now I'm
was a
glad.
whole topic that broke it down. I'll have to show you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that,
I can attest to the
because
level 10 thing where because I'm like
mhm,
level 50
right.
on PC, and then when I started out on console, before I hit level 10, I was get dropping, 10 kill games, just barely having played the game on console. But once I hit level 10, I noticed the lobbies switching up immensely. It was a great difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there was this like back in season 1 and even the start of season 2, when I used to play in a lot of kill race tournaments, there was this notion amongst all the pro players that when you have these kill race tournaments, you would always make a Smurf account because it's so much easier. Like when I first started, I dropped me
Now
and my
that's
friend a
just
36
cheating. That's
kill.
just
A 30, yeah, but that's what did actually Liquid did it. Liquid Flanker and Liquid Casper competed in the same tournament, the Code Red tournament that we did, and I was wondering how on earth they dropped as many kills. I went back and watched the replay of their stream. They were all 3 on level 2 accounts, Smurf accounts, and so that was something that people used to abuse back then. And I
oh yeah,
started
I
to
used
ask
to abuse it all the
questions.
time before season 1 was
Right.
even out.
I used to ask questions about it, and people would say, "Yeah, you can play it up to level 10. Once you hit level 10, that kind of cuts off." So now that you bring that back up, Lou, it reminded me back of that. Maybe that is true of how something to along the lines of how skill-based matchmaking works, something to do with being level 10.
Yeah, definitely. I've made like I think 4 or 5 different actual Smurf accounts, not like purposely meaning them to have Smurfs, but back in the good old days, like before season 1. Actually, I don't even know if that's the good old days, but I basically had a bunch of accounts like P2020 only, RE45 is OP back when disruptors were a thing. I was making those for specific videos that I never really got around to, and every single time I would notice, like I mean, first game I would drop 20 kills nearly every single time on a new account, but once I hit level 10, it changed. Like I don't know if that is
Right.
like exactly, I'm sure it's not the only thing, but that definitely is a thing.
Right. Yeah.
So we've got levels that we think make a difference in skill-based matchmaking. We've got Loot mentioning accuracy possibly making a difference in skill-based matchmaking. I'd assume KD ratio and probably damage per game makes a difference too.
Definitely,
But
definitely.
I don't have anything to confirm the last two about KD and
Yeah.
damage.
And I would imagine there has to be something along the lines of like your actual rank. Like, surely they would know, like, all right, even if they have bad accuracy, even if they have a bad kid, if this guy's Apex Predator, okay, then we've got to at least give him some brownie points, I guess, in skill base, in his skill based ranking for casual matches. I don't see how
Mhm.
that wouldn't play a factor in as well.
All right, so something else I actually really wanted to talk about was the Global Series tournament that was literally just announced. I'm so hyped for it. Personally, I'm definitely going to be going to some of the tournaments IRL and vlogging it for the homies. But like, what do you guys think about like the amount of money that's on the table and how there are actual different ways to be able to get into the final global series like major, where it's like I'm sure orgs are specifically buying in to get their places on different types of competitions. I don't really remember all the details, but like, what do you guys think about how about the fact that console players, they can't even compete in anything to be able to try to get to the major?
Yeah, that's a huge thing. A lot of people saying that I'm officially switching from PS4 over to PC. I'm sorry everybody to my PS4 community, but I want to compete in these tournaments and have a chance at winning, some of that $3 million total prize pool for the year. I think it affects it kind of hurts the console community, which I believe I'm not sure. Don't these are Squadcast facts, so don't fully believe me on this, but I think the majority of Apex players are on console if you include both consoles. So I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing that they're doing it only on PC, but I understand exactly where Respawn is coming from. That PC is it definitely is the best way to play Apex if you have the option to play on a good quality high tier PC.
So can people play controller on PC and get into the
Yes,
tournaments?
yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That makes a lot
Yeah,
more.
And
Daltush
different
posted.
resolutions are allowed. Like you don't have to
Well,
just
yeah,
play on
Yes,
different
yes,
16
16
they
that's
by
wild.
9.
unbanned. Well, they did do away with the stretch resolution back in season 1 for tournaments, or early season 2, I think. Maybe it was season 1, and they made it where you couldn't do it anymore, and they brought it back in season 2 or either late season 1. They brought it back where they were starting to allow it again. So that's, I guess, maybe not huge, but it's something that a lot of people prefer.
And then we had Dal Tush actually say that he's switching also, and he's the top PC or what PS4 player, right? And
Mhm.
so his reasonings were smoother game experience, more opportunity for exposure, more respect as a player, more money opportunities, and a new challenge to learn things
One
for
shot, one shot.
himself. So the smoother
Good spot,
gaming
bro. Sorry.
experience, I think, is a big deal. When you're capped at 60 FPS on
Oh
console,
my
and
gosh.
then you switch over to PC. Can you imagine
Yeah,
what
it's
a
huge.
better experience that is for a pro player?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, dude.
it's a total change.
When I got a 144 hertz monitor, which allows you, if you guys don't know,
Yeah.
it allows you to see 144 frames over like a 60 hertz monitor. When I changed, I could never go back. Like back in the good old CS:GO days, like when I was global, once I changed that, my gameplay, it was so much better. It's just so much
Yeah.
smoother.
Yeah, I think people don't really respect how much better you can play if everything you're seeing and feeling is in sync. So better hardware makes a huge.
Exactly. And it's not like knocking on, like, we're not trying to insult any console players. Like, you can be just as good with a controller on PC as anybody on PC with a keyboard and mouse if you really try. So it's really nothing, not about like console versus PC. Like, everybody tries to make it into PC master race versus console, but it's really just keyboard and mouse versus controller, if anything.
Right,
That's
yeah.
true. I like that you point that out. That it's not just console versus PC. It's literally controller and versus mouse and keyboard. Even though that's not what Respawn or Apex is trying to
Right.
make it into, but that's going
Because
to be a factor of having only these tournaments for $3 million only on PC, aka just mouse and keyboard.
Right, yeah. And like the thing is, I tried to point this out in a video not long ago, as I don't want it to become something where it's like there's an advantage here if you choose controller. There's an advantage here if you choose keyboard and mouse. Like at the end of the day, Apex is Apex. It's the same on console, same on PC. The only difference is, obviously, I know that like there's some FPS differences and whatever, but like as far as like the whole aim assist, like all of that, and the keyboard and mouse, like with the looting thing, and people say, well, oh, if you choose the controller, then you have the advantage in the aim department, but you also are hindered in the loot department. But then if you choose keyboard and mouse, it depends on how good your aim is. Like it could be better because aim assist is, beneficial in some areas, but when it comes to like muzzle flash, not being able to see, I saw a clip not long ago of, I think it was Daltouche, not being able to even see with the devotion muzzle flash, but because he had the aim assist, it was literally locking on the target, and he was like, oh, thank God for aim assist there. But that's something that in a a PC person's world, like someone who uses keyboard and mouse, you just can't do anything. You just have to stop shooting, and that's something that it should not be in the game. Like you should not have the advantage. Oh, just because I chose to play controller, I was able to secure that kill. Like it should
Well,
just be
I mean,
something like
here's the
two
thing,
different
though.
options.
You
So
can
you're
have
against
just
aim
in
assist.
general you're way more accurate with a mouse than with what is it, a stick, like on the controller, like an analog stick. Like those things are so inaccurate. I definitely do think there should be at least a little bit of help for controller players if they're playing
For
against
sure,
PC
for
players.
sure, for sure. Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't think that there, like, I obviously think there should be aim assist. What I'm saying is I don't think that the aim assist should be able to be that much better in a muzzle flash situation where you
Oh
can't see.
yeah,
What
yeah, yeah.
my solution is to not say, oh, you should tell someone, oh, you should play controller, because there's this thing in Apex, it's called muzzle flash, and it's awful. And if you choose
It's
controller, it'll really
terrible.
help you with that. What it should be instead, they should just fix muzzle flash and try to balance the options between controller and keyboard. And they should also buff the looting department for the controller players, so that it can be not like an advantage here, but it should just be a preference. Like it should just be,
Well, they
which one
added
are you more
those
comfortable
settings
with?
where you can have the faster cursor velocity, as well as
Right,
the setting
right.
where you don't have to stay on the loop, or you don't get kicked out of the loot box while you're getting shot at. But can they move
Right.
around like while they're looting?
Exactly. They
My-
can't.
my-
They can't.
my-
No,
What?
they can't.
Could you explain to some of the viewers, because I'm sure they don't understand, some of them don't understand what the difference is in looting on when playing on console versus PC?
So if you're playing on PC, you can still have full control of your movement while you're looting by using your WASD keys, your movement keys, while also looting with a mouse, being able to scroll and click obviously on the keys that you, or the items that you want. However, with a controller, you have to obviously walk up to the loot box. Once you enter into the looting, like the actual looting guide, the looting UI, you can't move your body around while you're looting, and you're like, you just have to sit there and use your analog stick to go through each item. So when someone, say like another controller player that is going to easily lock on you because you're not moving, or a keyboard mouse player that's not going to have to move their mouse at all they have to do is just click and shoot a body who's not moving, because they're already just looting, and they can't do anything. They're helpless, they're defenseless. But with a keyboard and mouse player, they're able to just move around constantly and then immediately tab out of the UI and go back to fighting. So that's an advantage in the keyboard and mouse category that the controller players don't have, and it's not fair to them. They should balance the two so that they're even, and it just becomes a preference. Which one are you more?
Yeah, I
more
definitely
comfortable
agree with that. Here's also one thing about controller. I'm not too sure, since I literally don't play controller at all on Apex, but like when I used to play controller, aim assist can like lock on through smokes. Like if you don't see it on your screen, like on PC, you wouldn't know that they're there. But like
Exactly.
you get like slightly pulled towards them, like through a smoke, like a Bangalore smoke. Is that a thing in Apex?
I'm pretty
think
sure
it does it for
is.
the Mirage Bamboozle too. It'll
That's
lock onto
true,
him when
that's
he's
true.
invisible.
Ooh.
Which, as a
Like
Mirage
L2
main, that's some
spam.
BS.
Dang, sheesh, I didn't even know that. This makes me think like they really need to get to work on cross-platform. Like Loot, I know you're a data miner,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
what do you like? Have you seen anything in the files about cross-platform or crossplay?
Well, they have some stuff that's detecting what system you're using, and it sounds like, I can't remember the system's name off the top of my head, but it does sound like they're using something in the background. It looks like a third party kind of software that's trying to figure out what console you're using or what system, and then place you in a lobby together based off that information. So I think it's
Huh.
possible that we'll see it in the future. However, I wouldn't bet on it. Maybe at the end of next year. That's the kind of
Yeah.
time frame we're looking at. But
Mm.
on the topic of aim assist, Diego Sor, TSM Diego, he actually posted about aim assist today. And he says, does it aim for you? No. Is a controller better at close range? Yes. Do controller
Well,
players have no skill because of it? No. Should you respect controller players who are goated? He says, yes. Is mouse and keyboard better at range? Yes. Is it unfair? No. So that's the opinion of a
That's
very
some
top
pretty big
streamer.
opinions he's stating there. Like I definitely
Yeah.
agree with some of the statements, but I think the fact that he's making it kind of binary between yes and no, it makes it a lot harder to agree with, just because not everybody's going to believe that. And it does aim for you slightly. Like, I mean, it doesn't completely aim for you. It helps you aim. So, and the fact that it is better up close, I mean, you could just change around your, like, you can be good up close on PC if you have the right sensitivity. So I don't know really why everybody's trying to make it which is better. Like, I think it's pretty balanced right now, at least right now. Like, the aim assist from controller compared to just a normal keyboard mouse player, it really doesn't seem that big of a difference for me. But here's the thing, I don't know at all, since I don't know when I'm playing against somebody who's using a controller on PC, and there's no cross platform, so I don't know what the difference is.
Well, something that might be of importance with this conversation is that people actually cheat by using an Apex Zim, connecting it to a computer, and be able to use a mouse and keyboard with aim assist. And they praise it as being so strong that it's pushed them to top predator level. So the
People
aim
actually
assist
do that?
Yes,
did
they
not
actually
know.
do that.
Because I
So
know Respawn made a statement a long time ago. I think it was like mid-season one.
they made a statement about the console people using Zim. They did not talk about
Oh.
PC players using Zim to
That-
get console aim assist and
That's
still use
so
mouse and keyboard.
broken. What?
Yeah.
So
So
they're
if they're
re-
willing to
rever-
go, yeah, if they're willing to go buy a $100 device because of the aim assist, I think we can settle that
Oh,
there's
sheesh. Well,
probably an
I
advantage.
would go do it right now if that wasn't a bannable offense. Like, sheesh.
Right,
Because they
right.
did say they're looking into, I remember the statement, I don't remember exactly, but they said they were looking into how to detect it. And, like, obviously, they said they didn't approve of it. So that doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean they're going around banning people, but if they had the ability to detect it and, like, correctly ban people, I guess, I think they would probably do that.
Yeah, I mean, just that statement alone. There are some games where they don't care if you're using a mouse and keyboard, but and then another thing to think about too is when you talk about Call of Duty. If you guys have played the new Modern Warfare or
Oh,
watched
yeah,
some
I
top
have.
streamers, they have cross-platform already enabled. But those top PC streamers, when they play console players, they're always like, "Whoa, what the hell?" Because of the aim assist, it gives those console players such a huge advantage.
Oh, yeah, I
they'll
definitely
watch the
noticed
kill
it.
cam. They'll watch the kill cam from a console player and see the aim assist. It's definitely noticeable in the
Yeah.
crossplay. But just as Modern Warfare is setting an example of having crossplay, like that is such a huge thing just for the entire community and the growth of the
Yeah,
game. Just
it's
seeing that
huge.
they have
Yes.
the technology to be able to do this makes me, want to believe at least that the Respawn is gonna put in crossplay eventually, just like you
And
said.
it's so
Will.
nice to be able to play with your friends that are on consoles and no longer have to decide, hey, yeah, I'm going to go buy and invest in a gaming computer just so I can play with my friends, or an Xbox or PS4 just so I can.
Even if they did it
Right.
step by step, like even if they just made it as the first step towards crossplay, where PS4 and Xbox can play with each other, that would help a lot of people out who play the game, because there's plenty of people who go to school and have two of their friends play on PS4, one of their friends play on Xbox, and that just ends up having the other friend feeling left out, and that's a crappy situation. So I think if they wanted to implement crossplay, like I hope they eventually do, I wouldn't mind them doing it step by step by starting out with PS4, being able to go to play against Xbox and with Xbox, and then eventually moving it into PS4 and PC and Xbox all on the same crossplay platform.
Yeah, that would make sense.
knowing that Respawn has had all of these topics come up at them since they first launched their game. Oh, your cosmetics are bad. And what do? They brought out some banger cosmetics. Oh, you need tournaments. You need more, like, we need custom lobbies. We need custom servers. And then here they are finally coming out with them. Everything that we have really wanted and that we personally know would be the best for Apex's growth, I'm pretty sure they have started to work on them, if not already brought them out to the game. I know that Respawn's going to bring crossplay. It's really a matter of time, because they know what's best for the game. They know, obviously, these guys are really high level, like, marketer. Like, they know what's going to make their game grow. They have people designed to understand, hey, what is going to make our game grow. They know that cross platform is going to be a banger. They know that that's necessary. They know that it's needed. Every other AAA game is doing it. It's obvious that they need to do it, and I'm sure they will. It's just a matter of how fast they can pull it out, because like you said, I think Quad said it earlier, it is so huge to the growth of the game. Like it is so massive. Like the PS4 community, whoever said that early, or Quad, I think it was you. It is the biggest. It is the biggest platform. The PS4 Apex community is the biggest amongst PC and Xbox, and then it goes Xbox. I think is after that, and then PC is actually the smallest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that would make
But
sense to me.
yeah, but yet for some reason, they're still doing all the tournaments on PC. I know why they're doing it on PC. That's where, all of the CS:GO Pro, the big names and stuff like that, that's where those people are coming from. Those guys are not going to switch from PC to Xbox to go play tournaments, but they know eventually they can bring some more console players over. But like you said, the best way to do this is just make it crossplay. Like the goal here is not to get people to go buy a gaming PC. The goal is to get crossplay into the game so that everyone can just do what they want and still compete with each other.
Yeah, that's
bottom,
the thing.
Bottom line.
They would have to release crossplay. The way I'm thinking, they would have to release crossplay before January 25th, which is the first online tournament for the entire year global series. Because if they just release crossplay halfway through, like qualifiers for the majors and all of that, it would just completely, like, I mean, I'm sure the pro scene would be so mad at that. It would change everything because they already, everybody's switching. I mean, all the console players that are professional or signed to an org, they're switching because I don't know why they never did, to be honest. Like 144 hertz, I don't, 240 hertz, whatever. Like, I don't understand how you would prefer 60 FPS over 240 if you're a pro. That just doesn't make sense to me in general. But now they all have to if they didn't already.
Yeah.
So there was also a Asu interview recently. He talked about like a bunch of meta changes. I didn't get to really watch much of it, but Miles, you guys watched it a bit, right?
Now, before this next part starts, I want to say and confess I made a really big mistake on this next part, a really poor judgment of mine. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I really have been working a ton lately, and I've not been able to keep up with the pro scene as much as I would like to, and not, been able to really play scrims like I used to, or play like tournaments like I used to, or even like grinding rank. And so before I started working, I knew the meta pretty well. I was obviously playing it a lot. And then while I've been working, the meta has apparently changed. And a lot of people are using a lot of different legend combinations, which I was completely unaware of. And so what you're about to hear is only partially true. I talk about how Watson is completely useless because back before I left, Watson was useless. Like everyone used Pathfinder, Wraith, and Gibraltar. And now I see people are using Watson again and not using Pathfinder. So you guys will just have to forgive me for that one and just kind of take that into consideration when you listen to this next part.
Yeah, so Asu thinks that there's some things that need to be changed with the game if he had to decide. One of them was to nerf the shotgun just a little bit more, the Peacekeeper. He said that you should remove Watson. Miles has more info on that. The other thing, what else did he say? Miles, you want to cover the other things he said to remove? I can't remember.
Yeah, so like Asu's had this since he kind of started a lot of, like, he's never really been the one to complain. Here recently he has really become the guy to complain, and a lot of people are not liking him for that, but at the end of the day he's still Asu, everyone loves him. But Mendo, he's actually kind of have this similar mentality as Mendo as far as what's wrong with the game, what needs to be removed. And he talked about the Peacekeeper needing to really be changed drastically because I don't know. This is the one thing I'm not sure if I agree with him with, and I can say this because I've played Call of Duty at a semi-professional level. I played Apex in the early day pro levels. So I mean, I guess my opinion is a little valid here. Obviously he's done a lot more than me, but the PK is definitely still a high tier weapon, and it requires a lot of skill. You don't, no one just like starts landing 110 shots consistently with a PK. But I will say that it is super frustrating. And I've saved some VODs on purpose to watch this, where I've pumped people right in the chest and watched all my pellets go right through them, and I'll do 10 damage. Like at first honestly, I thought maybe I'm just missing, but then I have watched it go through them and I'm doing 10 damage. So that's something they really need to work on.
The 20 tick servers, or what tick are
that's
the servers?
That's true.
Loot.
It's a 20 tick.
20 tick, which is like, okay, if you guys don't know, the CS:GO scene, which is pretty much the biggest or longest lasting, I'm not talking about like MOBAs like Dota and League, but like CS:GO for a first person competitive game, like esports scene, it's been around for Counter-Strike. It's been around for the longest, and they still have 32 tick servers, and people complain about that all the time. That is like always the thing people use as their excuse. I used to do it all the time back when I was global. I would die, or I would think I hit a headshot, and I'm like, oh, that's 32 tick servers, let's get 64. And when I first heard that Apex has 20 tick, which was like a week or two ago, I was honestly furious, because that explains for a lot of those things where you think it's like netcode, where you hit, you hit the shot, like, and then you just don't get the damage. So that's something pretty annoying. Like with the PK, you can, like, if you're up close, I swear there's so many times I'm like, that should have been at least 100 hit, but it's just one pellet. So I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, it might not be the PK. It could be, like you said, like just the servers themselves. But he also talked about Watson needing to be removed from the game, and
that's hilarious
a lot of people
to me.
a lot of people that don't understand the pro scene aren't going to understand this. If you're just a casual player, obviously Watson doesn't need to be removed, because you're just having fun. You know, Watson has her place in public matches, but when you're playing a high tier, a high level ranked, or either like professional esport, everyone's using what, you know, if you guys aren't sure what the meta is, meta means basically like the drift of what all the pro players are doing, what they're all using, what are their go-to weapons, their go-to legends, their go-to loadouts, what's the best combination. And Watson in season 2 obviously was the meta, like she was so important. But the problem with her meta is that it was not interesting. It made Apex boring, because it was not fun to watch, because everyone would camp in a house and just play zone and just Watson trap the building up. No one could really push each other. You'd get punished if you pushed, and it was a really crappy meta. And now that they've kind of reverted that, knowing that it wasn't good for the state of Apex, and they've brought Gibraltar onto the scene, and they've brought also, I saw someone else using another legend the other day. I can't remember what it was or who it was. It was another team. They were all trying out some different combos, but really it's been Wraith, Pathfinder, Gibraltar. Some teams I think have used Lifeline, but now that she's out of the meta, she's really pointless amongst, you know, high ranked levels, esports pro scenes. She's really pointless. No one uses her, and the people that have tried to use her are not doing good. They're not succeeding.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you're gonna say, like, Asu's saying remove Watson, all right, let's go ahead and remove Bloodhound and Mirage and everybody else that isn't being used in the pro scene, right?
Right.
Exactly. So I understand what he's saying. I don't really think he means that Watson needs to.
Yeah, he was honestly probably
removed
just
from the
being
game.
sarcastic.
He's probably being sarcastic, but I think it's a not a wake up call, but I think it's a kind of a shout out, or a calling, I guess you would say, for, hey, Respawn, we'd like something different. You know, we want a new meta. We want something to change. But at the end of the day, this is why I think Apex is going to be so successful, because a game like League, you know, Apex has so much control over how they want this game to work. Like,
exactly.
they can do what they want. Like, boom, we drop a new legend. The whole meta, the whole esports has changed. And so you're not going to have those constant. I remember back watching Call of Duty, it would be the same team over and over and over, win every single tournament in a row, because there was no meta. There's no meta changes. Like, there's the same maps, there's the same game modes, the same guns. It's the same thing over and over. But with Apex and League and all these, you can drop a new weapon, drop a new legend, and then boom, everything is changed. Like, everything is just all different, and everyone has to learn from scratch the new meta. So that's why I think Respawn is doing a really good job, and they have so much control with the game that they've really worked on well, and that is really blown up.
In general, I just think, I mean, I'm sure Quad, you can vouch for this. Respawn has always been like a great developing company for other games. I mean, they developed Titanfall, they developed MW2, right, Caleb? Or Quad?
I believe so, yeah.
And honestly, MW2 is my favorite COD of all time. Don't at me, it's the best. But hackers ruined it and everything. But I think we're going to go ahead and have to end this podcast off here, since Miles does actually have some real life stuff to do, since he actually has a life, which, you know, that's that's pretty lame. But we're going to go ahead and have to end the podcast off here. This is just the first episode. I just wanted to let you guys know that we will be posting these podcasts, a lot more of them, in the very, very near future, like literally in a day or two. We will be having that on our new channel, the Squadcast podcast. I'll make sure to link that down below. Make sure to go subscribe to that if you guys like this type of content and want to see more, because we definitely will be having a lot more for you guys. as well as before we end it off, I want to give a quick little shout out to everybody in this podcast because they are the absolute homies. Quadmft, he's actually my IRL brother. We live in the same house, but he's taught me everything I know about YouTube. She's been doing it for nearly like 7 years now. So definitely go check out his channel. He posts Apex, of course, the best game in the world. Miles, you already know he is the homie, so definitely go check him out. He's linked in the description. And of course, iLoot Games. How could we forget about the dad of Sethly? I mean, he might be my dad. I'm just saying. But yeah, leaked. Yeah, so link to loot in the description as well. And I think we're gonna go ahead and end it off here. Anything you guys want to say? All right, I guess
that's it.
That's a way to end it. All right, well, it's been
this at our own exits on our own videos.
All right, it's been the Squadcast, and we out.
Peace.
I see it.